We're ready to accept your invitations.
I introduced myself in the beginning saying I believe that Ben is a leader into exploring, and he's a lot better. I was using this example myself. I'm like the Wright brothers with technology. Ben is definitely flying with more wings than I have, and I really appreciate it and value. And Stephanie, I want to congratulate you for your stepping into the courage of the CCC 19. You said you felt it through your body. And I welcome the brilliance of our collective, because I think there is a chain growing of, as Lila June said, faith, trust, and compassion. And I'd like to connect dots. That's part of what I think of myself, is connecting the dots. And from the CCC 19, Jane Janu and I were on a call with some of our Noetic Sciences friends several months ago, and I brought up this conference and I said, how can we tap into the CCC 19 and learn from it? And then number two, how can we not necessarily bridge, but ferry boat to the IONS conference, July the 18th to the 21st, where there will be 600 to 800 researchers, practicers of consciousness in the room. I mean, that's what I've learned about the people in the room. What happened to us last night in our room was extraordinary. It happened most on the video, actually, on the Zoom call, but that's another story. The idea of how can we take what was an idea from CCC 19 and carry it over into the IONS conference and to keep it alive, because Charles Eisenstein, Irvin Laszlo, Rupert Sheldrake, I'm big into fields, can continue. So that's my invitation. For one.
Bravo, bravo. Well, that seems like an invitation for me to say something. I'm not exactly sure what, but I invite you to be in contact with me, because I am spearheading the follow through to climate change and consciousness. And we are erecting the structures of that follow through. Charles Eisenstein is on our advisory board, which we've just started forming. So he's the first member. And we basically are erecting a structure that has three main parts, that one component of which is, of course, connection, which we've already identified as the most important component of our global indigeneity coming together. It also has a component of learning, which is the groundswell college concept that I have assembled, which is a medium for outreach and education, beginning with leadership, the very kind of leadership that Lila June is demonstrating, the kind of leadership that Ben is demonstrating. And then it has another component of action, which involves incubating active projects that help move the wealth from the abundant north to the global south through permaculture, soil regeneration, reforestation, and sustaining cultural lineages. So incubating those projects, bringing them into an amplified state. So it's a comprehensive structure that is inspired by climate change and consciousness, because these ideas arose there, but it is not limited by any means to the participants of climate change and consciousness. And I've created a video series, and there are also live streaming segments that educate about these components. So this is all in process right now, and we are looking for funding to put it into manifestation. It's being done independently of Findhorn, because Findhorn is really not structured in such a way to carry it forward. They don't have the staff or the resources. So as the vision holder and convener, I am responsible to the vision that was delivered to me, and I'm absolutely loyal to it. It is an incredible vehicle of my service to humanity. As I think Michelle was the one who said, it's my love song, my love poem to humanity. And humanity is inclusive. I not only want to see more diversity in these calls, I would like to see trees and birds and nature spirits we're engaging in dialogue with. Wouldn't it be lovely to have a tree, one of these incredible ancient trees that I live with on the call? That would be awesome. And if we could hear the tree's response and song. So I invite anybody to, and children, thank you, Ben, yeah. Absolutely, the young people, and they are included in this structure that I'm creating with a team. I'm not doing this by myself, thank God. I have a wonderful team. We have an incredible chemistry together, and we're inviting Ben to be a member of it. So please just be in contact with me. And I would be very happy to deliver any portion of this at the IONS conference.
Thank you, Stephanie. Other invitations?
Oh, another, I thought that was my invitation. Is there another?
No, are there others besides you?
Oh, yes. Let me mute.
I have two, but I'm waiting. I'll go last. Maybe I shouldn't. Okay, so here are my two. Oh, Suzanne, you were getting ready to go, please.
I was going to ask you to speak up, actually. I'm having trouble hearing you.
Ah, that's easy. So the first invitation is saying there's a microphone issue. Do you hear me now?
Better.
I wonder if it'll help to do this. Tell me if this is better. How's that? Is that better?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay. The first invitation is what I'm calling a pop-up gift economy. And we've heard Charles Eisenstein's name a couple of times, so we can credit him again for, actually he wasn't the first person to introduce the idea of the gift economy to me. That was Bill Twist of the Pachamama Alliance, who just spontaneously one night at dinner in San Francisco with a group of us from the 4 Years Go campaign. That was how Sharon Joy and I met, although she wasn't there. Bill just launched into this lecture on the gift economy and how this was the original way that people operated. It wasn't barter, which is what I always thought. Oh, before there was money, how people did things was barter. No. You didn't need to barter when you lived in a village with people that were your whole universe, right? If something needed to happen, it happened. If someone needed a roof done, you didn't trade him a goat in return for, getting your help on your roof. You just did it, and when there was food, it was shared, etc. And so everything operated in the gift. And yes, there were, you got status the more you were able to give, and if you were shirking, people kind of noticed, but there was no official ledger anyway. It's a beautiful concept, and he does his work now to some extent in that spirit, and he did a whole course on it. So this is a kind of a pop-up version of that. A lot of work has gone into convening and hosting this Now What engagement. And when people registered, they were invited to indicate whether they were open to a request for a financial gift, to make a gift. So there's no expectation that anyone does this, and there's no shame, there's no shade in not doing that. In an ideal situation, actually, I would want to offer a dividend, a participant dividend to everyone who showed up, because everyone who's here is co-creating the value together. So in the next iteration, that may happen, and I'll talk about the next iteration in a minute. But for now, we'll be making this ask. So those of you, when you registered, who indicated you were open to that, you'll get this directly. And if you didn't when you registered, or somehow you didn't register and you're here or you're listening to this, you can just contact me to indicate your desire to consider this. And so those people who have been responsible for convening and hosting this space in May and June, are being invited to identify what they would like to see as a financial return for that offering, even though it has all been offered as a gift with no expectation of any return. And we'll have a number that will be sort of our target for that. And of the money that comes in, 2/3 of it will go towards satisfying those requests as best we can with whatever money comes in. 1/3 will be set aside to support work out in the world that is in some way connected to one or more of the participants here. So there'll be another invitation as part of this process. If you are doing work that could use financial support or other kinds of support, because we'll ask for people to offer more than money. It's not just about that. You'll be able to request that, and there'll be a process then where collaboratively everyone who's participated in Now What will be part of the decision about which of those projects might get support and how much support they receive. So look for that invitation coming more specifically soon. I just wanted to name it here. And then the second one has to do with future iterations of this kind of a process, particularly this deep dive process. So it doesn't have to be a month long, but a month seems like a nice time. And I won't say more about how it was put together, all of that. But the point is that we pointed this at a particular set of questions around consciousness and what it's like to be an awakened soul in a certain sense in the midst of a mainstream world that doesn't seem aligned with that, where there's a battle that we feel engaged in, and the challenge of how to do that, from a place of love, that is something we grapple with. And this process as a process, a hybrid of in-person and virtual conversation in small groups, all knit together, harvesting with an intention, could be pointed at any set of questions, any set of powerful questions, any network or group of networks that is doing work in the world that needs, that would benefit from this kind of collective inquiry and space for connecting. So my invitation is for any of you, we already have Sharon Joy and I have spoken about whether there's an opportunity with the IONS conference, but if any of you are doing work where you're involved with networks that might want to engage in this or with initiatives or projects, I invite you to speak to me about partnering in some future iteration of Now What that is focused particularly on serving and amplifying the work of that cohort, and perhaps connecting it up with other cohorts that are similarly involved, the same way that we connected multiple conferences here, so that we have lots of edges to play with as those wonderful ecotones where life is most alive and prone to evolve. Any more invitations, or are we complete for now, at least with this part?
Ben, I'll speak to networks, please. You brought it up just now, and I know you and I are network junkies. And the reason I bring it up is because I want to put it out as an invitation, because this is becoming quite extraordinary, of networks networking with networks. And now we've got a learning community jumping between Florida and Massachusetts is one. We've been jumping around the state of Florida is another example. It's networks like the rest of nature. We grow with these mycelial reaches under the earth and with energy fields up in, if you will, the atmospheres. So networks is a topic I really feel I want to bring attention to and invite us to continue further. So that's all I know to say right now. Thank you.
And I have an invitation. It's maybe a different sort, but I'm getting ready to go into a 6-week series of sharing the nonviolent communication premises. The guidelines help us stay with the underlying premises, and they're very unique with the group of people that I'm working with, because we want to get to that place between ourselves where we are communicating in a way where we're really honoring one another and being very authentic. and so that we can take that to the action groups, so that the action groups can take that to the public. And we have a couple of people with some experience, and most don't have. Most do speak from their head and do believe that they need to fight to get things to be right. And I'm notice I'm feeling a little overwhelmed. And so my invitation is just for all of you on this call, would you just hold the field for me on this for the next 6 weeks, 7 weeks? Thank you.
I guess you can hear me?
Yes.
Yes. I like to contribute or invite. I'm part of a Nordic or a global theme or group called the Learning Organization. And I was yesterday together with a man called Rehan Alawala from Pakistan. He's the man of Facebook. So he has more than 200,000 people following him from around the world. And also we're working with so he's really keen on using Facebook as a way to communicate with people all over the world fast as possible. So he's now in Sweden, and he's working with my network there on the Sustainable Development Goals. So I thought, if we're really serious about welcoming people from all corners of the world, maybe we should also sometimes use a platform like Facebook Call. And so in my small village of Molde, with only 20,000 people, we are having the Jazz Festival in 2 weeks' time. And we are, together with my friend Bartola, going to have a conference call, a Zoom call, on the art of lifestyle innovation and jazz and creativity. And so maybe that's an invitation to follow up with Ben. So I just felt like sharing with you. Thank you. And thank you for the nice evening and night. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for staying up late with us, Inger Mette.